Good morning, students. Welcome to the virtual classrooms. In our last lecture, we were discussing related to the general characteristics of the group 1, as well as we also discussed it how lithium it differs from its rest of the elements in the same group. During that case, we also discussed that lithium is having a diagonal relationship with magnesium. Diagonal relationship means the element of that first group, lithium, it's having an identical properties or certain properties are similar to that of the magnesium, which is the second element of the second group. So we get it as an in a periodic table on a diagonal character, and so we consider it as a diagonal relationship, right? We know it that lithium has certain properties. Let's check how many properties or which are the certain properties in which we can say that lithium is similar to that of magnesium, right? Okay. Uh, Particularly we can say that how lithium is similar to that of magnesium. This is a particular question. It can be asked to you as a write a diagonal relationship between the lithium and magnesium, or you can be asked as write a similar characteristics of the lithium and magnesium. Like that, a question can be asked. So in that case, the very first thing that we can write it for it, that is as a first point, lithium and magnesium both are small in size. They both of them are having same, almost same atomic and ionic size, right? That is the radius, the atomic radius or ionic radius of Li and Mg, both are almost same, right? Second point, both are lighter in mass but are harder in their respective groups. Both of them are lightest. We know it that top to bottom atomic mass increases. So both these elements being on the top, they are light in weight, and both of them are having it as the harder substance, right? Third factor, both are insoluble in water. We wrote it in the chemical properties of the lithium or in the general properties of the first group that both of them are much lighter in mass. They are insoluble in the water. They are having it as an highly diluted, right? So both of them they are very less reactive towards water. Insoluble here, the case indicates non-reactivity. They are not highly reactive towards water, right? Next, their oxides and hydroxides are also less soluble. Their oxides and hydroxides are also less soluble. Less soluble in again Solubility here, we always discuss it with water. So they are less soluble towards the water, right? Okay. Both Li and Mg reacts directly with nitrogen to form Li3n and Mg3n2. They two are only the elements, they are directly reacting with nitrogen. We know it that rest of the elements of the same group, for the first group we already have studied it. The rest of the elements like sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium, they don't react with nitrogen. It was only the lithium. Similarly, from the group 2, it's a magnesium which can react directly with the nitrogen. Right? Next, both do not react with oxygen to form superoxides. That is, we already again wrote it in our first group. Lithium produces oxide, sodium produces peroxide, while rest of the elements, they are going to produce superoxides. Here we wrote it that lithium cannot produce superoxides, right? Next, it is their carbonates, they are easily decomposed. Again, we know it as this, they do not produce hydrogen carbonate, but their carbonates, they easily decompose themselves into oxides and plus carbon dioxides, right? For an example, if I write it as LiCO3, particularly for this lithium, we are talking about it, lithium carbonate, so we will be getting it as an Li2CO3. This component, it decomposes into its oxide, Li2O plus carbon dioxide. It decomposes to produce its oxide and carbon dioxide. If I write it for MgCO3, it produces MgO plus CO2. They can very easily decompose, but they don't produce their bicarbonates, that is hydrogen carbonates, right? Next, lithium. The next point that we are writing it, we are having it as an lithium chloride or magnesium chloride. They are deliquescent in nature. LiCl and MgCl2 are that means they can very easily absorb the water from the atmosphere and gets converted into crystal substance. That is, they form LiCl.2H2O, Mg forms MgCl2.6H2O. Make it sure that you write it as 6H2O. In our textbook, there is an this particular over here in this topic, it is written 6H2O. In the next is when we will be discussing it about the second group elements. Over there, by an error, it is written as an 8H2O. So make it sure that we write it as an 6H2O. Right? So like this, we can say that magnesium and lithium, they are having it as an similar properties, or they are having diagonal relationship, right? Okay, now rest of the portion which is there in our textbook, we will discuss it later on, as it is not there as a part of our syllabus to be asked in an exam. So at present we are avoiding it. Later on we'll discuss it. At present whatever is the portion in our syllabus, we are discussing it, and that we are having now as an group 2 elements. Now when we are discussing it about now the group 2 elements, we are going to get it as beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, radium. Again, in this group, radium is a radioactive. So we are not going to discuss about any physical or chemical properties of the radioactive compound, right? Whatever we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss about beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium and barium, right? Now, a very first thing that we are going to discuss is electronic configuration. Now, when we are talking about the electronic configuration, we are going to get it here: helium 2s2, here neon 3s2, argon 4s2, krypton 5s2, xenon 6s2. That means in common we are going to write it as ns2 as an electronic configuration. Now as it is written out as an ns2, that is the reason why we considered it sorry, as a result we are considering it as an s block element, right? Its last electron is entering in the s orbital, so we term it as an s block orbital. The second factor that we are discussing it is atomic radii. Now you can see that the orbit is going to be increased. That means the distance between the nucleus and outermost electron is increasing. The distance between the nucleus and outermost orbit increases. That is, atomic radii increases down the group. So we can say that atomic radius increases. Similarly, all these elements are having a tendency to donate these 2 electrons. They are going to form an ionic radii. They are all going to donate 2 electrons, and they are all going to form it as an +2. So element with a +2 ion. So I wrote it as an symbol as E+2, all of them. But at the same time, what happens? The outermost electronic orbital is always becoming bigger and bigger. Here also distance between nucleus and outermost electron increases. Hence, ionic radii also increases down the group. Right? Here also we can say that it radius increases down the group, right? Okay. Next we discuss its ionic radii, ionization energy. We got it, ionic radii. Next one we are having it is a ionization energy. Now we know it that when we want to remove the electron from the outermost electron, we consider it as ionization energy. As the distance increases, ionization energy decreases. So we can say that as atomic radii down the group increases, attraction decreases. Thus, ionization energy also decreases down the group. Now these are all the properties as similar as that we did it in our first group also. They are not going to change because it's a group. Groups are having an almost identical properties, right? For their all the groups we will be having, as later on we will be studying P block, maybe in the 12th also we will be studying the P block. These properties in a general character for the group top to bottom they remains same, right? The next property that we have studied was hydration energy. Again, hydration energy depends upon the size. As the size increases, hydration energy it will be decreasing, right? So hydration energy depends on size. As size increases, hydration energy decreases, that is down the group it decreases, right? So that means we have, just as a moment ago that we studied it, Mg forms an hydrated ion very easily. That is, for an example, Mg produces MgCl2 dot 6H2O. As already I told you a moment ago that in our next point we will be having it as an 8H2O written in the textbook. What we are going to do it is, we are going to write it as 6H2O, right? Is it clear? Okay, these were all about its general physical trends. Now similarly, like first group, we will be having it as an general physical trends followed by chemical properties, right? So we are going to have it next one as an chemical properties, in which we will study it reactivity towards air and water. These elements, they very easily react towards the air to form oxides, and when they react it with nitrogen, only beryllium, magnesium, they are very easily forming it as an elements like nitrites, right? So when they are reacting, they are having it as an, the reactivity property as they are very less reactive towards the air, as they form oxide layer on their surface. So they are less reactive towards the air, right? Particularly when we are talking about it, Be when reacts with oxygen, it forms VEO. That means we have to ignite, we have to forcefully react it with the air so that it forms oxide, BeO. With nitrogen, it forms Be3N2. So that means forcefully they have to be reacted. They are not easily reactive, like in our first group that we saw it, that when they are exposed to the air, they immediately react with the oxygen to form oxides or peroxides or superoxides. Highly reactive. They are not reactive like that. They have to be ignited. That means they have to be made to react with the atmospheric condition, right? Forcefully they have to be reacted. You can say that Mg on ignition with oxygen produces MgO. This statement you have studied in your lower standard in the form of when magnesium is burned, when magnesium ribbon is reacted with flame, it produces white powder of magnesium oxide, right? So they have to be forcefully react. Calcium, magnesium, barium, calcium, strontium, barium, when they are reacted towards the oxygen, they reacted in the similar format. Their reactivity is comparatively similar condition. On ignition, they are going to produce it. Right? Okay. Next chemical property that we are having it for the group 2, that is reactivity towards halogens. That means these elements, what they are going to do it is M plus X2, it produces MX2 compounds, where M are the metals, M is an are elements of second group. They are all the elements of the second group. That means if I take it Be, BeCl2, Mg, MgCl2, CaCl2, Sr, SrCl2, or when we react it with halogens, they also get converted with other halogens. Here, particularly these halogens, in common we are going to write it are halogens, that is Cl, Br, I. I have not written F because the reactivity of the fluorine, it's not identical for all the elements of this group. So they are having somewhat different properties, right? Similarly, reactivity towards the hydrogen. What will happen? These elements, they are going to react with hydrogen to form metal hydrides. They are all going to produce which are ionic in nature. Hydrogen will be in the -1 oxidation state. All of them will be having it as an metals with a +2. Here M is elements of second group except Be. Be does not react in the similar condition. Beryllium when it is reacted with LiAlH4, particularly when your beryllium, which is in the form of Cl2. Beryllium chloride. When particularly beryllium chloride is reacted, it produces BeH2 LiCl plus AlCl3 in the particular format, right? It produces BeH2, 2 beryllium, so on balancing it, all its hydride formation takes place. So it's a not reactive directly with hydrogen. It reacts with a reducing agent like LiAlH4. Reactivity towards acids. Now, these elements, they are all alkaline earth metals. So they are metals. So generally they are having basic character. So they react with acids very easily. They react in the form of M plus 2HCl to produce MCl2 plus H2. They react very easily with acids, right? So they are having it as a good reactivity towards the acid. Again, they are metals. They are having it as a tendency to lose electrons, and that's why they act as a reducing nature. That means their tendency for donating electron increases. So they act as a reducing nature, right? So like that we are having it as the similar chemical properties as we saw it for the first group. Same sequential the properties that we have written it, right? One or two exceptionals, like here the beryllium, we wrote it, we specified it. For the oxygen also we specified it. That is only a special character that separates. Rest of the properties are similar to the group 1, right? Now when we are saying it that they are having it as a same characteristic like the group 1, that means now its first element, like lithium, beryllium is the first element of the same group, so it will be also having it as a somewhat different characteristic as they are the same group, right? The reason they are having it as an identical reason why we will be having it as a question, why Be differs from its group, right? There will be a certain reason. The reasons are again same. Very first reason that we will be writing it is it's having it as a very small size. Small size. We wrote it. Beryllium is the smallest of its own group, so because of the smallest size, it differs from the rest of the elements. Second, we also wrote it, as the size is smallest, hydration energy is highest. Because of small size, high hydration energy, it is having it as a high hydration energy, so it differs. Third factor, it's having it as a high ionization energy. Rest of the group, top to bottom, ionization energy decreases, and therefore it is having it as the similar character. The fourth factor, due to absence of vacant orbitals, it has coordination number 4. That means it can form maximum 4 covalent or ionic bonds with the elements. Maximum 4. While rest of the groups, they are having it as while rest of the elements has coordination number 6 due to d orbitals present in them. They are having vacant d orbitals, and because of this their coordination number goes higher. So they are having it as a higher coordination number 4. Beryllium has absence of d orbital, so its coordination number is becoming 4, right? Its oxides and hydroxides are amphoteric in nature. That means they can react as an acid as well as base. Particularly if you see the elements of the second group, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, radium, you can very easily recognize. You won't say that beryllium is a particularly metal, it's a non-metal. Though it is placed in an alkaline earth metals, it's non-metal. Or you can say that it is having it as both the characteristics of metals and non-metals, right? And so it is written out as it's an amphoteric in nature. Now this is what we saw it, that why it differs. So that means it would be having somewhat same properties with other groups. Like lithium was having an identical properties with magnesium, we told it as a diagonal relationship. In the similar way, beryllium is having a diagonal relationship with aluminium, which is a second element of the third group, right? So we are having it as beryllium as a first element of the second group, aluminium as a second element of third group. It's having a diagonal relationship, so we get it as a diagonal relationship of beryllium with aluminium. So the same way the question can be made for it. How Be is similar to Al. How beryllium is similar to that of aluminium. So again, the first point we will be saying it is they are having almost same atomic and ionic size. See, all the characteristics are going to be the same, right? Almost same atomic and ionic radii for Be and Al. They are having it as an almost same atomic and ionic radius. Both they are having it as a same charge by radius ratio. Same charge by radius ratio. They are having it as that is a potentiality of that. Both these beryllium and aluminium, they are same. Both beryllium and aluminium do not react with acid. Both does not react with acid easily, right? They are oxides, they are in the amphoteric nature. Their oxides can react, but the metals, they do not react directly. These elements, beryllium and aluminium, in the form of an element, they don't directly react with acids, right? So they are having it. Both of them are forming hydroxides. Both forms hydroxides in form of complexes. Both of them are having it as a complex formation, that is they form it as BeOH4 minus 2. They form it in the form of BeOH4 minus 2, as aluminium also produces is hydroxide in the form of Al produces Al OH4 minus 3, sorry, Al OH4 minus. It produces in the form of Al OH4 minus. They both react with halides. Their halides forms bridge bonds, that is, they produce BeCl2 twice or AlCl3 twice. If I plot it as a bonding, we will be getting it as an Cl. They form it as in 2 bonds. Again, it also produces Cl, which produces a bridge bonding. They get bonded with one another, additional bond. Actually the molecule is BeCl2, but it produces another bond. Similarly, as Al also produces the same condition, Cl, it's having 3 Cl bonded with one another. Another Al molecule, it also have 3 Cl bonded with one another, but at the same time it produces bridge bond, that is, they get dimerized with one another. They are having strong tendency to produce complexes. We saw it in the hydroxide. Similarly, the beryllium has a strong tendency to produce hydroxides. Like that, these elements, both aluminum and beryllium, are similar to one another. Okay, so that is one of the important topic, diagonal relation, or why they differs from their group. So we got it as an 4. Generally in an exam we will be always having one of the question, why they are similar or why they are having it as a diagonal relation. So out of these 4, 2 from the first group, 2 from the second group, we will be always having one of the question for the exam, right? That's all what we are having it for our syllabus of the exam, that the questions that can be asked. Rest of the topics we will discuss it later on in our next lecture. Till then, thank you.